Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back here to the channel over here at the Cantina Corner. It has been a minute since I've done a recorded video with my co-host here, Cody, talking some Star Wars stuff or anything for that matter. I've been doing some games on Thursdays as my schedule's kind of tight, so I apologize about that. But I will do my best to get as many videos out as we can, at least once a week if we can, minimum. So just always expect that at least on Thursdays. As it is Thursday and we're recording now, as you can see in the thumbnail right here in the video, not thumbnail, but picture below us, we're talking Obi-Wan today. But before we get into that, how are you, sir?
Good.
Yeah,
I'm peachy.
Feel good to be back so we can actually talk some fucking nerd related shit.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've done a video, so
I know life's been kind of crazy, but it is what it is. Yep. Shit happens. So Obi-Wan Kenobi, 6-run episode series over on Disney Plus. That concluded as of yesterday on Wednesday. One of many shows that have come out here from Disney Plus. We always do a 1 to 10. I'm curious to see where you fare on this because this show I've been very much wanting to talk about. So before we get into it, how are we feeling on the number rating?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. We haven't talked at all about a single episode yet to each other. So this is it. So this is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I know.
You want me to rate the whole thing as a whole?
Okay, let's do it like this because I had this feeling about it. Rate it as like just a show in general. Give that rating, and then rate it as like a Star Wars series.
The show in general, I'd say like a 6.
Okay, a solid 6, like 6.0.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how are you from a Star Wars perspective? Being an avid fan, how would you give it?
The part that's throwing me off is the overall series. I'll say like a 7.1.
7.1. Okay. You're pretty much in the same ballpark as me. I was going to give it like a 6.5 as far as like a show. And then give it around like a 6.57, like just enough above it as like a Star Wars thing because of certain things we're going to get into. Yeah, I was kind of, as a whole, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed parts of it. Like there was lots of parts that I could pinpoint and say, I love that. I love everything about that. And then everything else, like I did not enjoy, period. Like it was just, to me, I was just like, yeah, okay, it's there. Like that's just kind of how I felt until those big moments happened that actually made me give a shit.
Yeah. Yeah, there were very few things I hated about the show. I was entertained almost every time I watched it, but there were a few things I just like lazy writing and like some of the choreography in the one episode. I was just like, what the hell are we doing? Like,
yeah, some of the choreography was funky, and I've noticed that ever since we've gotten the new Star Wars movies, the 3 that they made following the original trilogy. And I know some people say, well, that's because those 2 were new, they didn't know how to fight or blah blah blah, but there was a lot of stuff even outside of lightsaber duel that was clunky and weird. It's always seemed clunky ever since Disney's had their hands on it. I've never really seen like a lightsaber duel that reminded me of the past, even with these 2 involved.
I will say, because at the end of the day, this is like an Obi-Wan Anakin Vader story.
Yeah,
that stuff was like an 11 to me.
Yeah, between them.
Off the charts.
Oh yeah,
it's great. I couldn't get enough of that.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you honestly a nitpick on that.
Yeah,
in general.
Yeah, I loved every bit of that. Honestly, I was annoyed the last episode when they kept cutting away from the battle. I was like, no, stay here, please.
Yeah, and that's what I'm going to kind of get into as far as things that were peppered in there that I don't know if needed to be watered down, not as prevalent, because to me, when I was going into this show, my whole thing was Obi-Wan and Anakin. It's honestly all I gave a shit about.
Yeah, it's understandable. I mean, my number one thing was, obviously I knew we were getting a lot of Obi-Wan and Anakin stuff. I wanted more Qui-Gon in this show, to be honest with you. But
I did too. I honestly, and obviously we're not going to be talking about this in chronological order from the episode, so just bear with us. Yeah, spoilers. But I thought that the Obi-Wan thing, as nice as it was to see and hear and just enjoy that like fragment of a moment, I thought it was just a throwaway. They just did it to say, there you go, we did it. Like it just felt it felt empty. I was excited, but then afterwards I was like, I feel like it was lacking.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't know that it necessarily matters that much. It was like a nitpicky thing. Qui-Gon was never really a Force ghost. He never actually became a physical version. He could just speak through the Force and stuff like that, communicate. But honestly, that's not really I didn't really have a big deal about that because I wanted to see Liam Neeson because
It was good.
fucking Qui-Gon was fucking great.
It was good. It was good to see him again.
But I don't know. There's the storylines that were like the side stories of the show. I was just like, oh, we're setting up a side series. We're setting up a side series with this guy. That's just the vibe I got, which is fine. But
oh well, speaking of side series, aka also side characters, how do you feel about Reva in this show? Because there was a lot of controversy as far as, it wasn't was it necessary?
Dumb.
You didn't like it?
No, I think the controversy was dumb. I mean, I think honestly, I really liked the concept of her character because the Inquisitors are Jedi that Vader got to follow him in turn. So I loved that concept that she was a youngling and she's had this seek for revenge, which is why she was able to tap into the dark side and all this other stuff. And she had like these crazy anger moments
that were great.
I honestly really liked a lot of what they did with her. I do think they maybe focused on her a little too much early, and I think that's why people were like, "What the fuck is this?" But honestly, her character as a whole, I did not mind at all.
No, I didn't mind her. I didn't mind her. The anger part, I loved like that, just like almost drug addicted need to like find Obi-Wan. Like she conveyed that very, very well. And it always made it interesting because you were like, oh shit, like it made it believable that I didn't even consider her anything other than Sith. Like I didn't even consider the fact that she could have been a youngling, as you find out later on, from when Anakin stormed the temple in Order 66. I didn't even conceive that because she played a Sith character so well. And she made it believable. So I thought that was good because if you can trick the audience, you can find it believable that she could trick the other characters within the show. So when that happens, you're like, oh my God, like, okay.
Yeah.
So I thought that was well done. She's a great actor, in my opinion.
Yeah. I agree with everything you just said. And I did love when she like finally turned to try to strike down Vader. That was probably one of the best moments of the show. That whole fight scene.
It was cool.
Was badass, where Vader just total disrespect, didn't even pull out his saber. Just, oh my God, that was awesome. That was when I was like, all right, this show, we are now getting into like greatness, where this show can be great.
Yeah, and one of my favorite parts, obviously, like you said, when he didn't pull out the lightsaber, just basically show disrespect, like you're not even like on my level, even close. When she goes to hit him with the lightsaber, and then he's like force holding it to stop her, and she just does that scream, and she's like trying to push it through. Like, oh, I love that. I love that intensity. It was so good. The only thing I hated about that, and I saw someone, and this obviously nitpicking because there would be no story if you did certain things or whatever. Someone's like, why would she ignite it and swing it at him? Why wouldn't she just like put it behind his back and then ignite it? But at the same time, it's like it's Vader. Like he's gonna know regardless that she's back there.
He wasn't gonna kill her, or she wasn't gonna kill him.
Yeah.
No matter what she did, it would have been a sweet concept though if she just stood behind him and ignited it, and he literally stopped the saber from igniting with the Force, and then turned around. That would have been sick too.
Kind of like that Kylo moment when he stops the bullet or stops the laser round.
Right. But no, I liked everything about that whole scene. The only thing I didn't like is now like everybody can survive a saber blow. Like that bothered me. I get the Grand Inquisitor because he has like two stomachs that alien has. Like there's things where it can make sense.
Yeah.
But this is the second time now she's been stabbed and she's just fine. Like
I was bitching to my father about that. I was like, is Qui-Gon the only one that doesn't know how to take a fucking hit? I was like, what?
Poor bastard.
It's like he just gets right to the gut, immediately dead. Like right to jail. Like he just immediately dead.
Believe it or not, right to jail.
Right to jail. You take double Maul or what is it? Maul lightsaber to stomach, right to jail, right away.
Right to jail.
So he dies right away, and then she's just like, "Oh, I got stabbed in the gut by the most vicious man in the galaxy. Let's take a trip to Tatooine right after." And I'm just like, "Okay, I get it. Like the saber, in essence, because it's a beam of pure energy, it cauterized the wound, so she's not bleeding. But it's like you have a hole. There's a hole in your body."
It was another thing too. I've seen a lot of people bitch about like, oh, she got to Tatooine so fast because they started the finale with her there, and then they go back and they're still in like the chase. But it's like, how the fuck did she get there so fast? But that's just kind of Star Wars, man. People just show up places without any reason or being. So I didn't have like a massive problem with that. The biggest problem I had in this finale episode, and it's a massive nitpick.
John Williams?
After Obi-Wan and Vader fought, and Obi-Wan leaves the planet, the Star Destroyer is nowhere to be seen. There was just a Star Destroyer over that planet that Vader left to come down. And when Obi-Wan leaves, it's nowhere to be seen. I was like, would they just leave? They were like, fuck him. Like, oh, what?
The only thing I could think of, and obviously they didn't say anything about it, was that he told them, he's like, I'm going to go down there. You guys keep chasing those, you know, fucking basically to them terrorists, the rebels. You keep going on and chase them, but it's pointless because you've already veered away. So I don't understand why it matters.
Yeah, I don't know. That was the only thing I was like, what the fuck?
That could have honestly just been an oversight because that happens in movies that come out in theaters all the time.
It's a big ship to oversee, though.
They put camouflage mode on, all right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like, the guy, it's interesting. The guy Vader went to fight is now leaving. Should we shoot him? No, let him go.
Let him go.
Stay cloaked.
It was an honor duel, all right? We have to honor it. He has to leave now. Right. Out of respect.
Speaking of that duel, can we talk about it?
Yes, please.
Nothing will beat Vader versus Obi-Wan in episode 3. But I don't know if that fight and this duel, I think this duel was shot better. The camera angles during this duel were fucking incredible, man.
They were
incredible, dude.
They immerse you 100%.
Oh, I was just like, man, what a shot. Oh my God, that's a sweet shot. Like I was saying, and I don't really usually pay attention to like things like that. I try to like stay within.
Yeah, usually
like,
that's me.
Yeah. And the first time that like took me out, like first of all, that planet was sweet. I don't know the name of it. I haven't looked into it or anything.
It was really cool.
But awesome planet. When they're first standing there before they even duel, and all the rocks are behind Obi-Wan, and then it's like an open wasteland with the moon or whatever that is for the planet. I was like, wow. I'm like, that needs to be a poster right there.
Yeah, not to mention with that planet with the lighting and then seeing the sabers and the colors.
Yes, it was like a light purple hue, and like the red and the blue give off the purple hue in there. It was fucking beautiful, beautifully shot.
Yeah, it was gorgeous, and especially the way that they use the light too. Like if you look at that scene where obviously Obi-Wan cuts into Vader's helmet, and you see Hayden Christensen, Anakin Skywalker, talking to him. When he's talking initially, giving that speech, there's blue hue over his face. But then the minute he starts transitioning to tell him like, you didn't kill him, I did, you see the red start pouring in, and it's like it was duality.
It was a confliction of it. It was poetry in motion with that, because like you would hear Hayden's voice.
Oh, I love that.
And then when it cut to Obi-Wan in the Vader voice, and it kind of like the red kind of came, it was beautiful symmetry.
Can we talk about that broken voice where you're hearing both at the same time? How fucking
we've heard it before, but I mean you haven't, because you haven't watched Rebels. Which is something I was going to get into. You absolutely have to watch this episode now. There's an episode where Ahsoka fights Vader.
Doesn't she cut his helmet?
She cuts his helmet on the right side. Obi-Wan cut it on the left side. And then the only person to ever remove the helmet fully is Luke. I was just like, oh my God.
Interesting.
Isn't that beautiful? That's beautiful.
Wait, no, because he had it on. If you're looking from his perspective, it was the left. So would Ahsoka?
He cut the right, whatever.
Okay, but either side.
They each cut the opposite side, and then the only person to ever remove his helmet was Luke.
That's crazy.
I think that was on purpose for sure.
It has to be. Which is funny that they can remember those touches, but not a goddamn spaceship up above the planet.
It's true. That's true. And it was interesting too. Ahsoka cut his a little bit less. Obi-Wan cut his more. So it's like he had more pull than Ahsoka did, but Luke had the biggest pull. There's a lot of little things in there. It's like, God damn.
The fight was pretty deep. I rewatched it. Someone compiled it without the cuts into it. They just made it fluid from start to finish, and you can watch it on YouTube in 4K. They like upscaled it. It's gorgeous. I've watched it like 20 times.
It was nice too to actually see Obi-Wan be fucking goated ass Obi-Wan too.
The
Like,
Force, the way
oh
that they use the Force in this show, can we talk about like the Force Unleashed and all these games that
yes,
like I just reminded me of? I was so happy to finally see it because I've only ever seen shit like that, and I'm sure you can agree with me in fan service films.
yeah, like live action wise, yeah, like when Vader stopped the ship in the 5th episode,
I lost my
that was
shit.
great. That was great too, because yeah, we've only seen that in video games and cartoons. Ahsoka stopped Maul from leaving in the Clone Wars the last season, but yeah, it was beautiful. And then when what's her nuts, Reva, whatever the fuck her name was, I don't
Yeah,
remember.
Reva.
When she was down and he walked over her, and there was like that glazy hue around him, and he was just standing over. He was like, "Did you really think I didn't see it?" I was like, this is a cutscene from The Force Unleashed.
Mm-hmm.
I literally looked just like a cutscene from Force Unleashed, and it made me really happy.
Yeah, there was a lot of good. I don't know if you'd call it fan service, but it felt like it. With just the Force powers,
Yeah.
the fact that Vader was burying him with the rocks, and then Obi-Wan comes up and gets and just lifts all those rocks at him and just starts pummeling him. I was like, thank you. I was like, we always hear about them being powerful. We've never seen any of that, and we're finally seeing it. I mean, even when Vader smacks down at the ground and he's like, "That's why you will always lose," and the ground's cracking up.
Smash,
Like,
dude.
oh my god, it was
that was great.
It was awesome.
And it was great too. It was a nice touch when Obi-Wan was in there holding it up, and you could hear all the like the interactions he's had with Anakin and Vader, and like you could see him like giving up, and the rocks were coming down until he thought of A New Hope, Luke and fucking Leia.
Yep, and that's what he just said. Fuck it.
There's a lot of Star Wars fan service for me in here, and I loved every minute of it.
That was a Super Saiyan moment. Right when he got buried, I was like, "Time to go Super Saiyan." I was like, "Let's get these rocks off you."
He did. He just,
which was amazing. And then and then like you said, the cinematography, that shot they have where it's the angle from the bottom of the pit that he was in, showing him jumping out and stuff. It was just, it was.
Okay? Because I said it out loud when he did that, and he was staring down at Obi-Wan. I was like, he's got the high ground.
Everybody that I watched react to this on YouTube was like, "Say it. You have to say it now." He's going to say it, and I'm like, I guess he didn't say it, like, which was fine, you know. But it would have been interesting to see, because I was glad that we at least got one line in there that was like perfect. Yeah, it was perfect. It was like I told a buddy at work, it's like when you got a PG-13 movie, you only get one F-bomb, so you got to like place it right. I thought that was well done.
That was well done.
They picked a good moment.
Yeah.
So that was cool to see that when he said it. Obviously we talked Qui-Gon, a little disappointing, but cool to see.
I hope we get a spin-off show of that too.
That's another thing my friend at work was saying. He goes, I would watch the shit out of an entire series where he's like training with him.
A couple episodes.
Yeah, just show him training with him, talking with him, like sharing wisdom, like all these different things, like becoming, Ben Kenobi out there in Tatooine.
I don't know why I just had this thought in my head. Like literally just came to me.
All right.
We have to replay that because you could see it come into my head.
Okay.
You could do that spin-off series where Obi-Wan is literally training still with Qui-Gon.
Yeah.
And we can follow Maul's story that we didn't get to, like up to where we meet him in Rebels. Like, what is Maul doing on the other side? Like a linear thing that comes into the story of Rebels where they meet. Boom, Disney, hire me. Boom.
That's a great fill. I mean, because I said I'd watch the show, but I told my buddy, I was like, I don't know how they'll do it, but I'd watch the hell out of it. That's beautiful.
That would be great. Because in Rebels, that's just blew my own mind right there.
Because I haven't obviously seen the show. All right, so it is what it is. What it is. But you did make me look up that scene, and I saw it. So knowing what you're talking about, I would love.
Yes,
that.
And Obi-Wan goes from his fighting stance to Qui-Gon, so it's like it would be perfect.
Yep.
Of like why he's why he's changed and grown that much. Like,
which by the way, when he did the pose, it was nice to see.
Oh, it was great.
It was the minute he did, he's like, I will do what I must. I was like, oh. Real quick, before we wrap this up, another character. Obviously, we didn't get a lot of Luke, which is fine because we get his stuff. He's not supposed to be involved because he doesn't know anything about this. How'd you feel about Leia, the girl that played Leia, and like the involvement of that?
Great.
Okay, because I loved it
Fantastic.
too.
I loved her.
The chemistry that her and Obi-Wan had was awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It explains why, like, okay, I'm down to my last hope here. Like, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yep.
Why she feels so safe reaching out to him. Made perfect sense, huh?
Yeah, it was
I
great.
thought all that was great.
And it was funny when he gave her the holster and she's like, it's empty. He's like, you're 10. I'm not going to give you a gun. And then,
That was nice.
what was it? I was trying to remember. Okay. So one thing I want to ask you before we end this, the scene where Ewan McGregor tells him like, I'm sorry for all of it. I got choked up, man. I almost cried. Like I felt it like brewing like a motherfucker. And the acting that he portrayed in that scene, just that conversation alone was top tier.
Yeah. I can't get enough Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan.
No.
I'll tell you that right now.
Just the charisma he has in that role is astounding.
Yeah. Talking about this from a Star Wars perspective, I might move this up to like an 8.2.
Okay.
Now that I'm thinking about it.
See, it's tough because there's, like I said, the good
it's not much
moments.
Star Wars stuff that's wrong.
No.
There's just some lazy things that are wrong.
And
like the ship missing and choreography where we literally slap a stormtrooper in the head. I was like, what the fuck?
I didn't understand that. And she would push something, she'd be like, and then they're just like thrown on the ground.
He was like dazed. He dropped his gun. I'm like, really?
It was a bit much.
Hiding a girl in the trench coat. I was like, that whole thing. I was like,
that pissed me off. That's when I started.
Like, okay.
That's when I started. Like, I was like, are we gonna really like? Is this show really gonna disappoint me that much? When
I literally quoted the other guys to Kim when we were watching. I was like, really? We're in a police station and nobody's seeing this?
That's exactly what that is.
Was.
Because I remember watching the episode with my dad, and afterwards he's like, it was really good. And I'm like, and he goes, okay, what? Because I've been like that lately with everything. And I'm like, he really just was like, oh, nope, nothing to see here, folks. Just walking through. Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, that's kind of fucking dumb.
Yeah.
Like really dumb.
And an impenetrable fortress that's part underwater, but the windows aren't blaster proof. Lazy.
Yeah, super lazy. And not to mention when those stormtroopers, which I bitched to my friend, I was like, look, I know stormtroopers are like, don't have good shots, but I was like, at what point, now that I've seen enough of both, prequels to now, they used to be squared away soldiers. And it's like the minute the Empire gets their hand on them, they're just fucking idiots.
Yeah, my issue was we were following Vader and obviously his Inquisitors, and I get now they're stormtroopers and not the clones anymore, but some of those 501st clones would have been integrated, and we didn't see like any of that.
No, you got
sucks. I would love a 501st show, like a strict 501st show, following from before, like when we were following Anakin, and then when he turns to Vader and they follow him like into the dark, kind of like the first Battlefront storyline.
Yeah,
I want that in a show. I want that in a fucking show so bad.
We did get the trooper that was homeless on the streets begging for money, which was actually like a very symbolic thing. Like to see that, and you're just like, oh shit, like it's really
that's how we treat our veterans here. So they're different.
Yeah,
same, but different.
That's another topic. But yeah, all in all, I mean, it was entertaining to watch. It had a lot of good meaty Star Wars stuff. People were bitching about the fact that they didn't de-age him properly in the prequel shots, and I'm like, okay, go get fucked. Like,
I actually liked it.
I
liked that they didn't.
I didn't have a problem with it. I didn't have a problem with it either way. I was like, yeah, he doesn't look the same, but I don't give a shit because the guy, I mean, how many years ago was that? And then people were like, I didn't do it. And then they're like sharing a video like, look, this guy did it right. And it's like, okay, calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
Like,
honestly, I was so like sucked into those moments.
I didn't care.
Didn't give a fuck.
No, I was like, oh yeah, he doesn't look young enough, whatever. And then
it doesn't have that old looking of a face, so it really didn't bother me at all.
No. And honestly, I think it's the fact that it's shot on newer technology than before, so that also changes your perspective on things.
Yeah.
Because the original movies did have kind of a fuzz to them a little bit. There was like this, like almost, I would say, what do they call that? Blur in video games, ambient blur or whatever, that we don't have right now. But I digress. Any other closing comments you want on the show? I know we didn't dissect every little single thing. I think the show would have been better if they could stretch it out to 10 episodes. I really hate this 6-episode thing. That's the last thing I'll say about it. I think they could actually make it more solid if they made it 10, 1 through 10. I don't know why they do 6. That's just my personal opinion, my final thoughts.
Yeah, I wish it was a movie. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Would have been fine with like a 2.5 hour movie. But honestly, no matter how they put it out, I'm going to watch it. So it could have been 20 episodes. I would have watched every single one.
Yeah, exactly.
So they've got me. Okay, as you can see from my background, they've got me. Doesn't really matter what goes on.
Yeah, they've got me too.
Yeah.
I'm a grown man with toy figurines behind me. So
Yeah.
if it's Star Wars, entertainment, we're gonna consume it. Obviously, you've heard what we thought about the show. We didn't dissect everything out of the show because that would take hours and hours and hours. If you want to do something like that, there's a great channel that I would recommend, Star Wars Theory. They do a good job of dissecting a lot of things with theories. But if you want quick little synopsis,
He does a good job, bro.
I'm sorry, yes, one man, and it's a
One
very
opportunity.
very good podcast. But we like to kind of keep it short and sweet here and give you our opinion on the show. Hopefully you liked it. Let us know in the comments what you think below. Obviously you can always follow us over on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Like I said, if we're not doing a live video, or if I've got time, I'll do some live streaming of video games, whether it's a couple hours, just to hang out with people, come in, bullshit, anything like that. And tonight I'm going to try to do some VR. So you might see that video depending on, when you pop in here. But other than that, we will see you in the next video. Probably we got a lot of movies coming down the pipeline, Marvel, all these different things. So we'll
Andor's coming out.
Yeah, we got Andor, we got Thor, Love and Thunder, a lot of good things that we're going to try to get reviews on. So definitely look forward to that. And then other than that, you stay fucking beautiful, and we will see you in the next one. Peace.